What's up guys, and welcome to a new Guild Wars 2 video. So this is to do with the 2016 Halloween update. I should be going through some of the stuff that you can do. Of course, if you're level 80, this is perfect. However, the Labyrinth and a few other things are something that you can try at a much lower level. So if you're here, then might as well do it. So the biggest thing to do with the Halloween update, where you don't have to go through any crazy doors or anything, is in Lion's Arch, and this is Mad King Says. So Mad King Says is just a big game of Simon Says in Lion's Arch that spawns every 2 hours. Depending on what time zone you're in, it will be an even or an odd hour. I know currently for the British time zone that it is every odd hour, so there you have it. You need to successfully perform or not perform 12 actions, obviously depending on whether he says the Mad King says or whatever, and you'll get 3 key pieces that you need to open a big chest, which you can only do once per day. Every 4 actions will grant a key piece, so if for example you only get 11, you could just have to wait 2 hours and then do it once more, 4 actions, get your key piece, go to the trading post or whatever, and then come back, open up the chest. Or of course you can continually farm it and get all your keys and then just open them up on consecutive days. Whatever floats your boat. So the next part of the Halloween update, you'll find that there is a dungeon that has been added. This is called Mad Kings Ascent. You can find this in Lion's Arch, along in the Halloween area that's been added next to where you'll find the Mystic Forge and things like that. It's fairly easy to see on the map, you'll know where to go, and there's tons of decorations everywhere, so you'll know where to go. Anyway, Mad Kings Ascent is a 5-man group dungeon. It's easily farmed and very quick to get quite a bit of trick-or-treat bags if you don't enjoy kind of open world zerging, which I will go through in, well, shortly. It's the only way that you can get tattered bat wings for Night Fury. Currently, as I was recording this video, they were about 7 gold per wing. Obviously that price will drop as more people start farming it, but they do tend to start crawling back up, you know, as time goes on. However, I would not suggest picking them up for any more than that, depending. The encounter itself includes several phases that revolve around DPSing mobs, killing all the Halloween ads, whatever. Once you've cleared all those doors, then the Mad King will drop down onto the platform, and then you just beat on his ass until he goes invulnerable. He runs off like a little bitch. You drop down onto one of the floating islands beneath you, and then you just rinse and repeat until you've done all 3 floating islands. Easy peasy. Only thing I would say is go careful where you're jumping, because if you fall off you die, and it's very difficult to well, unless the guys in your group are well coordinated in reading chat, then it's quite difficult to break combat so you can res. So the next thing, which is probably the thing that I end up doing the most in the Halloween updates, or have in past years, at least until they added the Labyrinth, is the Mad King's Clock Tower. Again, you'll access this through Lion's Arch, through one of the doors, it specifically says, or if you are in one of the Mad King's realms, you can go between those specific areas if you speak to the Lunatic Boatmaster, or go through one of the doors. So the Mad King's Clock Tower is probably, well, it was notorious for being the most difficult jumping puzzle in the game when Halloween was first added. It's a time thing where you have to run up, you know, bits of exploding tower, and then there's like poisonous green goop that kind of rises like water. Very reminiscent to like Rayman, like the very first one on PlayStation. If you played that, there's a couple of levels where you'd have to kind of beat the water as it rises to save you from drowning. Same thing. Fairly easy route now once you've learned it. The only difficult part is getting the last jump correct, because it requires you to time it correctly with the rotation of the clock tower. Other than that, you get 5 trick-or-treat bags every time you do it, so I suppose you could farm this if you're very good at jumping puzzles. It's kind of very similar to the Winter's Day update, where if you're very good at jumping puzzles, you can make A, a lot of karma, and B, you can make a lot of money from Winter's Day presents. But yeah, just follow the path. It's a lot easier than it was in previous years because they made loads of changes in previous things, so there you go. Alright, so this is the meat and bones of the update here. This is the Mad Kings Labyrinth. In the background you'll see me kind of like zerging around if I haven't cut in some of the footage from the other parts of the update, but Mad Kings Labyrinth, that's your open world zerging, running around a little map, farming mobs and events and things like that. Personally, I really enjoy it, but it's obviously not to everybody's tastes. In the lore, it's located in the Mists, and in there you can get quite a lot of dialogue from Mad King and Edric as they kind of like have their little family feud in the middle. Some of it's pretty funny, but again, they haven't added anything new for this one, which is kind of a shame, but you know, they've only got so much time to spend on doing these sorts of things, and holidays are generally recycled in other games, so I'll let that one slide. This is the farming map. You close the doors, as I've said, and kill the mobs that spawn out of them, and farm the ones that are around. There's 3 bosses that spawn as well. There's the Grand Viscount of Candycorn, the Labyrinthine Horror, and the legendary Skeletal Lich. The Labyrinthine Horror, really easy to DPS down, not really much of a problem. It does do a disgusting amount of damage, I will say that, but it's generally not too bad. The Viscount of Candycorn, all you've got to remember is that to dodge, obviously, you have a dodge key, use it, otherwise he will do heavy amounts of damage. And also when he's throwing candy corn, stand in like the candy goop crap on the floor. Don't get it to 10 stacks or you'll pass out, but if you keep those stacks up, it will protect you from the flying projectiles he releases every, you know, couple of phases or whatever. And with the Skeletal Lich, I mean, this guy got nerfed into the ground. I mean, it was hilarious before because the whole raids would wipe from retaliation on all of his mobs, but not so much anymore. Again, probably the easiest one to do these days, so there you go. They also removed diminishing returns from the Labyrinth, which is amazing because this is the best way to farm up your trick-or-treat bags. I've made quite a bit of gold already doing this. Obviously, as time goes on throughout the event, you will make less and less money. Not through diminishing returns, of course, but because of supply and demand. So, towards the end of the event, you may want to stock up, grab those bags, wait for the price to go back up, maybe in 6 months or whatever, and then just sell all your bags and make even more money, and then rinse and repeat. But again, see if you've got the bank space for that. Another thing that's quite nice to have is they added the Candy Corn Gobbler, which was a gem store item. I'm not even sure if it's on the gem store at the moment, because I think it might have been taken off because this video is really late. But if you can get one of those, it's really good. It's a good sink for your candy corn, because you're going to get loads of that. And you get free boosts. You know, if you have the Candy Corn Gobbler, you just like spam it like a crazy bitch. Get all of your buffs, you know, your magic find, your experience, all of that stuff, and trust me, it makes farming this place so much better, and you don't have to pay money or gold for those boosts to make more money. I mean, obviously you've got to pay for the 300 gems or whatever it is, but that's fine. Along with other farming, I'd say this is a great place to farm your candy corn, if you're, of course, using your gobbler, or you need to get candy corn cobs, which I'll explain in a moment. But it's also a really good place to get your carving pumpkins. If you come in, spend maybe an hour a day, not even that, half an hour, just go around, carve all the pumpkins, come back, etc. In a couple of days you'll have the achievement done, so you don't have to rush around being like, oh my god, I've got to fucking get my achieves and my titles. They also come back every year, so don't worry about that. Yeah, so like I said, very good for that. And if you're a lower level, this is a great place to level. Trust me, you get all your experience boosts and everything else, you will be 80 in no time. Well, comparatively speaking. I mean, my Quarteria masteries, they leveled up like in no time at all. So there you go. I just recommend you take a staff guardian or a class with a fast attack speed or range damage, because you're gonna need it. Those mobs die really quickly. Speaking of other things that have died and haven't come back, and died very quickly, unfortunately Lunatic Inquisition was not added this year. It was only for the Blood and Madness patch, which was the Halloween 2014 thing, and it was basically a big game of zombies or Manhunt, if you ever played those, you know, when you were a little kid or whatever. In the Labyrinth, one team, which was started off very small, was basically like the part of the Inquisition, and then they had to go around and find all of the villagers, which were the other team, and if they managed to catch them, then they would join that team, etc. And then, you know, zombies basically. I'm not expecting this to ever come back, but if it does, that would be awesome, because that was a pretty fun game mode, and the closest thing they've got to it left in the game, I suppose, would be South Sun Survival, I believe, yeah, which is basically Hunger Games, etc. So the next thing to go through is, I suppose, Night Fury. This is the skin that I often wear on my characters because I like it. And it's basically a skinless shoulder item that gives you a particle of effect of a swarm of bats. I've used it for so long, well, since last Halloween really. Yep, recommend getting that one, but it is very expensive. It's come down a lot in price, however, because you can now get unopened endless bottles of Batwing Brew fairly cheap now. Well, I say fairly cheap. It's still quite expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than like 500 gold a bottle, so there you go. There's also loads of exotic skins and things like that in the trick-or-treat bags, but they're quite a low drop chance, so I would personally recommend just buying them off of the trading post for those. You'll be able to find all of those skins on Dolphy or whatever. There's also a vendor in Lion's Arch next to where all the doors are. There's also the Quagun, which you can donate 1,000 pieces of candy corn to get your achievement, and quite a nice amount of karma. I think it's 6,000, but I can't remember exactly. But yeah, if you speak to this vendor, you can trade 1,000 pieces of candy corn for 1 candy corn cob, and the candy corn cobs are the currency that you use to buy kind of some of the better Halloween items. Well, I say better, but the easier to get. So you can get an outfit, you know, the hexed outfit, which is kind of cool, very Raiden, or skeletal lich, depending on what gender you are. You know, the shackles of madness, they're a pretty cool skin. You can now buy the mini Winifred. I got that one from a bag, just because I was opening loads of bags. And then there's the new one, which has been added, which is super fucking awesome, and that's the mini Oxydecimus, the Shadow Raven mini, and that's a crazy 120 candy corn cobs, which equates to about 600 or 700 gold, which is absolutely crazy. But that's the one that I'm currently farming for, and I'm gonna have that one. I'm about halfway, as of recording this part of the narration anyway. In the video, if it shows, then I'm nowhere near, but that's because I was waiting for orders to be filled at the time. So there's that to keep in mind. There's some nice things that you can pick up there. Make sure you're aware, have a look. There's a couple more bits that are coming out on the gem store, like a new outfit which looks pretty cool, to be honest. I can't remember the name of it, but it was good. So yeah, there we go. And of course, in keeping with gem store items and Blackline Trading Company skins, they added a new set, which is Gargoyle Weapons. Some of these are pretty cool. Personally, I'm not overly enthused by them, if I'm totally honest. I'm still repping Chiroptophobia every now and then. I kind of preferred some of the really nice Halloween skins that you can craft yourself using like Gift of Souls and stuff. So you can get like the ghastly grinning shield, get the Mad Moon, which I often would have seen in other videos. So yeah, they're there. You can check them out in the Blackline Trading Company kind of vaults or whatever. Another thing you should probably also stock up on, you know, with the trick-or-treat bags or whatever, but more useful, also a lot cheaper. Pick up as many sharpening skulls, flasks of pumpkin oil, or spicy pumpkin cookies. And this is because they are currently, well, they've been the best food for magic find, and also the best maintenance oil. So just have a look to see if it matches your build, because obviously you don't really want condition damage if you're on a power build, and you don't want power, well, you kind of do want power if you're on a condition damage build, but it's not as good. So yeah, pick up those whilst they're nice and cheap. Just, they probably won't go up in price that much, to be honest, but you know, if you can save maybe 30 copper per item, then, you know, a whole stack, you're going to save yourself a, you know, few silver, a few gold here and there. And also, when it comes to the Halloween PvP finishers, I wouldn't recommend buying those, personally. If you farm enough, you will make more than enough of the little free token things that you can use. I mean, I've got, I don't know, maybe about 1,500 charges for both of the finishers that I can use, so I've never figured it was worth buying. So there you go, just a heads up on that one. You can also open loads of trick-or-treat bags and really get some good magic find levels too. It's very expensive, mine. It's not as expensive as, say, salvaging ectoplasm, but it's still pretty expensive. Maybe wait for the bags to come down even more in price and then buy like thousands of them. But like I said, you're going to need to buy thousands of them. But yeah, that's been my video. Thank you very much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up and, you know, a share if you enjoyed it, or, you know, let me know in the comments section what you've been doing this update and everything else. And I hope you have a happy Halloween, and I will see you in the next one.